Joining us now is our wonderful correspondent, CCHollywood. Hello, Sisi. How are you?
Hello, Donna. How are you? It's always so great to see you. Send you love.
I've been so happy since we met. Every time we talk on the phone or we see each other in person, Sisi, you have this vibrant light about you that just makes my whole heart feel warm inside. So it's always so nice to have you as my friend.
Yes, me too. I'm always so grateful because, I feel like we're doing something that are really meaningful to the world because we're shining the light to all those kind of people. And I think we all need some light right now in this world, right? So
We
that's why I feel
absolutely
so
do.
grateful. Yes. And today, Donna, we have a very special guest join us. To me, he's a dear friend. We met 2022 on the Golden Globe. And then, he is the one always making me laugh, So today I actually brought Forever 25 Lifestyles is because, I know he will be on the show and I know he will make me laugh so loud that, I have to prevent my smile lines showing up. So, I took that whole set with me, And to the world, he's a brilliant comedian. He is the one who went to the White House for the correspondent dinner, which is the first Chinese ever done that, Chinese comedian ever done that. And he's bold enough to roast the vice president and the president. And he is the one is so rich, not rich, just rich in money. I can see from his big mansion house, he's pretty rich, but he's more rich inside. That his emotion, his ability to connect with the people through his humor. And also he's so rich in his caring about the world. And if that's not special enough, he is actually, his name, Chinese name is Huang Xi. And I know his, comedy history probably started when he was a baby, since his parents named him Huang Xi, which is in Chinese, it means two superfruits. It's Huanggua de Huang and Xigua de Xi means like cucumber added with watermelon. So how wonderful a name. I think anyone named less two superfruits would be super in something.
So is it cucumber watermelon? That's what his name translates to?
That's his name translated. Literally means, cucumber watermelon.
Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen,
Sisi. Sense of humor.
I know, he's got a wonderful sense of humor. He's better known, though, as not cucumber watermelon. That's his new rap name. But who do we have with us, Sisi?
The brilliant comedian Joe Wong today. Welcome.
Yay, Joe Wong. Hello.
Yay.
Hi, Joe.
Oh, hi. Thank you so much for having me here. Nice meeting you, Donna. And
nice
good to connect with you again, Sisi.
Nice to meet you, Joe Wong. It's so nice to meet you. Joe,
yes.
You weren't always a comedian, though. Sisi was telling me a little bit about your background. What was that? Mm-hmm. What did you do before comedy?
Yeah. I was a biochemist. I started with studying the neurobiology among Drosophila, which is fruit flies. And then I moved on to some cancer research. I didn't cure cancer, but I figure, laughter is the best medicine. So I went into comedy, I guess.
Laughter is really great medicine. So Sisi, tell us about what your thoughts were about that. Were you impressed that Joe was once a scientist and then he brought that to comedy?
Well, absolutely. And actually, I think, what I can sense that Joe's humor is like he's actually crossed the Eastern and Western, which is very unique because, Donna, we know the culture has a huge barrier. But Joe are able to cross both cultures, really unique. And Joe, you are actually currently on a tour. It's called Out of Space, which is in Chinese, we call it 水土不服, right? How's that going? Yeah. And any special moment you want to share with us?
Yeah. I grew up in China and now I'm a comedian in the US. I do bilingual comedy tours. And this year I have some good news, because President Trump said he was going to put a tariff on everything coming from China, which means I'm going to get a raise.
Because Donna,
I'm
actually, Joe
China's
recorded
finest import, you know.
it's so
Yeah.
funny. You know what? Though?
Yeah,
I
but then,
always, knew like people call Joe like Lee funniest export from China. So we're definitely going to give you a good raise, Joe.
yes, that's what I'm looking forward to. Yeah, I traveled
Yeah.
in many different cities in America. It's been a lot of fun doing a bilingual stand-up.
Joe, what was it about your comedy that helped you bring, like, kind of break through the cultural barriers? That's one of the
Mm,
reasons that Cece and I joined forces together, is because we want to bring a unified feeling to the world. And you've
mhm.
been doing that
Yeah,
so well. What was that like, or how did you go about making that happen for yourself?
yeah. It's a gradual process, like you kind of, especially through stand-up comedy, by learning what makes people laugh, you kind of understand the cultural subcontext, and that is the most important thing when we talk about communicating between two different cultures. Um, for example, like when I first came to America, I never knew how serious a threat is when somebody says to me, "I'm gonna kick your ass." I was like, "Wow, that's the most cushioned part of my body." This guy this guy's being mean and considerate at the same time, just very confusing to me, but I gradually kind of understand, Yeah.
What were
That
some of the
is so
other? Go
funny.
ahead, Cece.
No, sorry. It's just like always making me laugh. He's always have the ability to make me laugh. It's so funny. Yeah. Yeah, but Joe, I know your tour is called Out of Space, right? So it's like a
Yeah.
水土不服. It can be two things. One is like all my foreign friends, when they first time come to China, anything like either
Mhm.
in China, they go through their butt very fast, because I think your immune system are not built that way. And
Yeah.
another way is also can means the culture shock, right? So Joe, since like I know you have been to USA like over what 30 years. What do you
Yeah,
think? Do you
almost. Oh,
think
well,
right now
exactly
when
30 years now.
yeah, so like, do you feel like when you go back to China, or like, do you feel like somehow you feel out of, place when you're in USA or China, or you feel you belongs to both country? How do you feel about it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, on the one hand, I always say, the tough part is the thing is, if you hate either country, it's actually easier. But then the problem is, I really love both countries. And to me, China is like my mom. America is like my wife. And now the two don't get along. Especially when my wife sends my mom balloons and stuff. There's just a lot of pressure there. But,
I
but
think
most,
I would
most of
choose
the
my
time,
what.
I choose my, yeah, but for most part, people in general are pretty nice, but occasionally people will say nasty things. Of course, in America, we kind of already know what people say to foreigners or minorities. But when I go to China, if I say something that people don't like, some people actually say to me, "Hey, go back to America."
Oh,
I said,
wow.
"What? Oh well, I got some white privilege in China, I guess." Yeah, but
Interesting. So Joe, you're
yeah,
finding sometimes you're there and you're here, but like
yeah.
sometimes depending on how the joke lands, whether some people think it's funny and some people don't think it's funny. But are you yourself
Yeah,
happy? Do you feel happy in your own heart?
yeah, well, I think nobody is 100% happy. If you have some intelligence, it's very hard to be totally happy. You know? But the thing is, I just feel that I am happier now than I was doing science. That's enough for me, I think.
Right. Although I don't
Yeah.
know, Joe, I think Cece and I bet like 99% of the time she and I live in just a space of pure joy. I think happiness
Oh,
is like a
I
choice.
don't
And
know
I
how you
think
do it.
you don't know how to do it. Well, you know what you're doing though so well is that you're making people
Yes.
happy. You know what I'm
No.
saying?
Yeah,
Like
that
when
is
you
so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah,
People
I
need
mean, I
you.
know Sisi has this product called Forever 21. I was
Yes.
wondering if you have a product called Going Back to 25 or something, you know. Because yours is Forever
I love
25, you know,
it.
I want to go back to 25. Yeah.
I think we need to invent a
Yeah,
time
that's
machine.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know that Joe, actually, I think, you wasn't, a really good student to start with, right? I knew like your
Yeah.
father was actually have a plan B for you, right? Like he was,
Mhm.
I watched
Oh,
that
yeah.
your father said he was actually willing to make you a factory worker or something, like if you didn't made it to university, right? But then you somehow,
Uh-huh.
it's kind of like you have magic, switch, and you can just switch on and off, and then suddenly you can from the bottom of your grade and you take a rocket on the top, and then that's how you
Yeah.
get to the university, and then that's how
Mhm.
what make you decide to come to USA then?
Oh, it was at the time I really wanted to become a professor. You know, my dream is just to lie by the pool and writing thesis and papers. So that was my dream. You know, um, that's why I came to America. I got a PhD in biochemistry from Rice University. But after that, I just feel that I need to make some money. The academic road is pretty long, and I didn't have very good luck for the last 3 years of research. So I figured I just want to go into the industry. And once I got into the industry, I worked pretty hard. I got the only patent in my company, but then I was never promoted. So I was like, okay, I probably should try something else as a hobby. And that's how I stumbled upon comedy. I tried a couple of times. I still remember my first show in Boston. It was in a sports bar. There's like sports on TV. There's a rolling alley. There's pool tables, really noisy. And they put a little stage at the corner. I did 5 minutes of stand up. And afterwards, this guy said to me, "Hey, I think you're probably funny, but I don't understand what you're saying." That was my first show. Uh, but I still feel that if you do something, you fail, and a couple of days later, you still want to do it, that might be your calling. You know, that's how I felt about stand up comedy. You know, even if I was constantly failing, but after a while, I still want to do it. I figure that's probably something I should do. Yeah.
That is so
That's a
true. That's earlier Donna mentioned, like why her and me we are so happy most of the time. I think
Mhm,
for me the way when I figured out there's 2 days in your life is most important, which is the day you born and the day you
mhm.
find out your calling and your purpose. So I think
Oh yeah.
that day, I think that's how we can maintain in that status, to enjoy, even though life sometimes throws something on you is pretty hard. But as
Mhm,
Donna said, it's your choice to stay happy. And Joe, you've been bringing so much joy, and that kind of, I feel like your humor is disarm people a lot. When people feel tense, and your joy,
mhm.
your humor always able to help them. And I want to ask you that. A lot of audience want to know you bring joy to the world so much through comedy, but what is comedy mean to you in person?
Oh, to me, it's just it's a way of self-expression, and that's the only way I can find some confidence in my life, I think. For some reason, even though I managed to have good grades and made some accomplishments, I always suffer from like low self-esteem. But after stand-up comedy, I feel like, okay, I know who I am right now, and to me, that's a really significant thing. Significant thing, and no matter what happens in my real life, I would be able to kind of process it on stage and turn that into a joke, and I will just accept myself and maybe accept the world even more. So that's that's how I feel about stand-up comedy right now.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Cece, thank
Yeah.
you for bringing your wonderful friend Joe here. Joe, we thank you so completely. I can't wait to go see
Oh,
you
thank you,
live.
Don.
And
Yeah.
what you just shared was so impactful. Like sometimes we might have a little doubt in ourselves, but if we're doing something that is our calling, right? Somehow it just takes us through. So happiness to you and your journey. And we're going to go to your website for more information. Sisi, thank you so sincerely for bringing this delightful friend of yours, Joe. So it's nice to meet you both. As we all live in
Nice meeting you.
right? As we're all living together on this big, beautiful marble in the sky, right? So planet Earth. So thank you so much. Be well.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Really appreciate
Thank you so much,
Okay,
Joe.
bye.
Thank you for your time. Thank you, Donna. Love you
Bye-bye.
guys.
Okay, nice meeting you,
Love you
Donna.
too.
We'll see you in
Bye-bye.
New York.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye.
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 So that was my dear friend CCHollywood. She's so lovely. And Joe Wong. Or cucumber watermelon? I don't know. Joe Wong. Be well, guys. Bye-bye.